Now, a good friend of mine and founder of Future, Andy Fell, says that there is opportunity in everything, and I fundamentally believe he is correct. So let us go out with a bang and explore opportunity. We'll explore key lessons from the CDR rollout, comparison in the age of open data, and how Finder is embracing data-led decisions, and disruption in disruptive times. What does this mean for the future of comparison? So to guide us in this final leg of our expedition, it's a pleasure to pass to the CEO and co-founder of Finder, Fred Schebesta. Thanks, Fred.
Thanks very much. Hey guys, my daughters challenged me to say, "Hey dudes," so hey dudes, before I was practicing for this, so there it is. Now I'm going to talk about today, obviously comparison in the age of open data, and I'm going to lead up to an important idea, which I believe the future of banking is headless. Now before I get into that, I need to give everyone a bit of background about open banking and open data and the trends that are happening and build up to this thesis, and we're going to get to that. So I'm going to present something, so it is coming, but I just want to give everyone some background so we're all on the same page. So I'm going to talk about a little about the lessons of CDR and some of the rollouts, the comparisons, obviously where we're going, and obviously the disruption which is about to happen, and I'm going to talk a little about that as well. So a bit of background to Finder, just quickly. Who is Finder? Obviously we started as a credit card comparison site in 2006, which is a long time ago, and we've obviously rolled out lots of other comparisons, home loans, personal loans, business insurance, etc. And in 2016, we launched in the US, in 2017 in the UK, and now in Canada and many, many other countries. So we've got a lot of experience, and I have personally a lot of ideas from being on the ground and actually experiencing what these technologies are like. So I'm going to share that. These are all my ideas and what I'm seeing. So this is just stories from what I know. Just in scale, Australia, Finder is one of the largest comparison sites. We see about 2.5 million unique Australians every month. This is just, again, wanted to talk about the timeline and background. Okay, so in July 2019, we started talking about this open banking idea in Australia. Now, it is just those big banks for now. Then what happened was it got pushed back. So we went back to timeline 2 here, and we're supposed to launch in February. And that actually got pushed back again. And the other banks obviously are postponed about 12 months from launching their open banking. But so here we are today. So in July, 2 months ago, we launched open banking in Australia. Now there are only about 3 players actually connecting right now. Finder is one of the companies which are applying to become and getting this data. But I'll talk about why we haven't actually started using open banking yet, and I'm going to talk a little bit about, but I just want to give everyone the perspective. So in February 2021, other banks will come online, and what are they providing? Credit cards, savings accounts, home loans, and allowing customers to give third-party applications access their data and start to crunch it and make analysis and insights and ideas. So this is a big change. I reckon it's the biggest change in financial services since the internet. It's a big deal what this will do. So what's next for CDR? What is coming up next? I think right access is going to be big. I think open electricity is on the cards already. Broadband, mobile, open super is going to be big, and open insurance is definitely coming, 100%. All of these industries, third parties, you'll be able to give your data and allow them to crunch it and provide great insights and great ideas. Right access is on the table. This is going to happen, which means you'll be able to not only read the data, but you'll be able to allow third parties to switch products, make changes, make payments. It's already happening in the UK, billions of transactions. This is what's happening. It's coming in Australia. This is not interesting and new. This is what's already on the table. So what have we learned so far? So today, screen scraping still drives a lot of the data. Most applications, including the Finder application, uses screen scraping as well. And that's what's happening today. Screen scraping is still very big. Regardless of what anyone is saying, it's being used by big banks as well, massive amounts. It's doing a great job. Lots of customers are getting, millions of Australians are getting incredible results. This is also happening in the UK, and it's big, massive in the US as well. So this is already happening. The second thing he learned was that while the government is rolling this out, these technologies, Finder has been building, and a lot of other companies have been building and preparing for this big change that is happening. In the UK, lots of financial services apps, lots of fintechs apps are launching. New neobanks are launching almost every day in Australia. This is happening, this is coming, it's already happening. People are building. We're not talking about legislation and arguing about it anymore. We're actually talking about people have constructed things. So there's 60,000 downloads now to the Finder app. And obviously that's quite big. We only launched in March during the coronavirus. So this is being taken up by customers. This is already happening. Just want to give that perspective. My forecast as well, but in the UK, it was a little bit slow to get off the ground, and now obviously has really escalated and really picked up and exponentially. So it probably will start a little slower in Australia, but my forecast is it will start to really pick up like the UK. Second area, so a good bit of background there. Let's talk about comparison in the open data age. And obviously, I know a lot about comparison, and I'm going to give that perspective, but I think what's really important is at the end of the day, every customer at some point compares, right? So when they're considering certain products, they're making a decision, they're going to go and compare. It's part of the sales process. What's really important for any financial services company is to get in that funnel and be part of the consideration set. And that's what Finder obviously ultimately does. It gives the customer that choice right there and then that they can go and put you in their comparison set. So again, just a bit of background, Finder is the most visited comparison service in Australia. It is far and ahead the market leader. Bit of background also about comparison as well is that in the UK, comparison is much more prevalent. That's 71% of people in the UK actually compare, whereas in Australia it's about 50%. Now, why is that? Well, I think that's because of the weather, partially. I think it's really nice to go outside. People still go to the shops. It's just a nice place, Australia. It's not as cold. And the climate, we don't have two climates. We sort of kind of have one in most parts of Australia. Obviously, that's changed of recent slightly, but I definitely think that there is a behavior in Australia yet that has not quite changed that we don't compare. Most Australians don't compare yet. And I think that's going to start really changing. And I'm going to show you some numbers on that as well, about how that's changing and this behavior change that's really starting in and of itself, because right now people want to save money. People really are looking at their finances. It's an unusually prevalent time for people to do that, and it's really quite pertinent. I'm going to show you some numbers on that. So what are we doing in order to embrace this? I'm talking about three things. Mobile first is relatively obvious, but I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm doing stuff today and obviously how we're preparing. I just want to share some of these things. So the first thing is we went live with the Finder app. And now the Finder app is unusual because it's not like the website experience. Finder's website experience and its app are completely different. Its app is a much more CDR, open banking, consumer-led product where the actual customer comes in and you can automatically compare your products by connecting your bank account. So it just continuously compares them forever, non-stop. Your home loan, your insurance, your energy. We know if you can save some money and we tell you about it continuously, which is a great little product. And I think we've got a whole series of other things to come along and come out, which we're very excited about. But what I wanted to share and what's instructive about this is that I believe that the mobile phone in and of itself is going to slowly start to replace the desktop. And you're going to get more and more confident about using your mobile, and so we've made a big investment towards using the phone first as opposed to the desktop. I think if you look in Southeast Asia, a lot of people don't have desktops. They think their phone is their computer, and in and of itself, I think a lot of Australians, Americans, and people in the UK and Canadians as well, also in Europe, they'll start to make that transition as well. As phones become more and more powerful, as the apps become better on the phone, as they become more customized, my contention, and that's what we're moving towards, is becoming this mobile first. And what that means is it's actually making that leap to becoming an app. And you need to earn your place on that phone. So that's sort of strategically how we're thinking about that. And I think it's really important that our partners also are working very closely with us to enable everything to be API driven and really giving us those connections, and we can make real-time decisions within that mobile first, then and there. When someone's ready, they've got the phone, they're lent in, they're ready to go, they're going to make a decision. You don't wake up in the morning and open the Finder app. You don't wake up in the morning and go, I'm just going to open the Finder app for no apparent reason. You're there to make a decision. And so what we're trying to do is really bring that mobile first feeling and action and really shape our business towards that. And our partners, our banks, our personal loan lenders, our insurance companies that we work with, telcos, obviously we work with thousands of different partners. They're all aligning towards this, and the best ones are making big leaps, and I'll show you some examples of that. So one of the things we've really tried to do, so this is just an example, we've launched this today. It uses a lot of scraping technology. I've said that before, but I think what's interesting about this, it's all API led. You can connect in, and we're connecting in with partners and their decision engines to make to make credit decisions upfront and before you apply. And I'll show you some more of that. But I wanted to submit is bringing that stuff and shining that out today. Now is a chance to get that opportunity in order to take a leap forward and get market share. It's happening right now. I've got a little video here. I'm just going to show you guys. It's the latest feature we've launched. It's called the chance of approval. I don't know if we can spin it up. I'll talk a little bit about it as well.
Getting rejected for a loan isn't just painful here, can really hurt your credit score too. With the Finder app, you can see your chance of approval for a loan before you apply. Download the Finder app now.
So what did you see there? What we're doing is with the personal loan application, we're rolling this out for credit cards, you can go into the Finder app and our customers, our members, can actually see their chance of being approved for a loan before they apply. Now, why is that important? Well, if you apply, obviously, and you get rejected, you get a black mark on your credit score. And customers right now, what we're seeing, we've got 250,000 people at Finder that have got their free credit score, and they're concerned about this. They're concerned about the credit score. Credit scores and comprehensive credit reporting is on the rise. I think it's going to be part of the future. It's already here. It's already happening. People are aware of this. But what you're seeing there is our latest technology where we've used some AI and machine learning to go back and look and essentially tell you as the customer, before you apply, other people what they've done and what your chances of being approved. Now, this is just a tip of the iceberg. This is all relatively new, but this is just the beginning of where we think we can start to take this and where I think the future of banking will go towards. These insights and suggestions will become incredibly smart, and I think we've got some incredible stuff coming out. So I'll go on to the next part. The next thing is you obviously connect in your super. You see a full picture of your financial products and your whole, we're thinking of putting crypto in this as well. You can see it all in one place. But this credit score being there, it's a dashboard. Finder is becoming that financial operating system. That's really what we're becoming. Now, I want to take you through another thing. This is the latest thing. I'm revealing this right now for everyone. At this talk, this is in beta. We're going to spin this. I'll talk you through it. This is a beta version. It's called our spend analytics, right? We start to analyze your spending and tell you things that potentially, no one else is going to tell you because Finder doesn't have an incentive to stay with one particular bank or do a certain behavior. Instead, we're aligned to the customer. We want the customer to get the best outcome for them. So let's roll the tape on this one. So what you're seeing here is the different categorization of the person's spending. And it goes through the different months. They can see it there, depending on how they're spending. It's broken down by different categories, and then you can start to analyze what you're actually doing, which is quite interesting. This way you can see all your interest, you can see your fees, your expenses. You can get yourself an understanding and start getting yourself into a saving mindset, which I think is, again, really important and we think is very important for our customers. And what we've noticed that people are really interested in right now, they want to save money. And they're very concerned about where they're spending. You can actually sort that by merchant as well, so you know how much you're spending, on Uber Eats and things like that. And we're starting to see some trends and analysis, and our partners are coming to us right now. And I encourage everyone who's watching or listening, come and have a chat with us as well. We've got some incredible insights and ways that you can target some very, very, very good customers, and specifically the customers that you want, because we're starting to see how they're spending. Right, so that's coming in the Finder app. There's all sorts of things. I can't tell you about all the things we are going to launch, but we're coming up to something I want to share with you. So what are we doing in terms of CDR? What's happening? I just wanted to share this. This is the accreditation. This is what's needed. The ACCC's involved. Consumer data right. Australian government obviously is very proactive around this. They've launched this in July 2020. We think it could be, approved around 2021 or early in that time. And I think this will, again, open up a whole other level. All banks are going to be on CDR. This is the law, just to give everyone that context. This is not, Finder didn't invent this, that'd be great, but the government is really driving this, and the government has a massive drive towards this. They want to see, this is on the back of obviously many other technologies and sort of things that are starting to happen. I think the NPP in December 2021 will also be a big thing, where third parties can initiate payments. And these are the kind of technologies and the basis of where my thesis, what I'm trying to present to you today, on the future of banking and where it's going. So lots of work going on behind the scenes here. Now, let's talk about the third part. So now that's the background. That's giving you where's comparison going, what's the background on the government, what's the background on the technology. I want to give you some of the predictions and where I think the future's going. So I just want to give you some stats. This is another thing. Normally, I wouldn't talk about this, but just want to give you some quick stats, quick insights as well on what the behavior change is. So this is important. We're seeing now 83% of Aussies are concerned more about their day-to-day expenses. These are some surveys that we do. We continuously do this on a regular basis. 18% feel insecure about their job. This is up from 13%. 40% don't feel financially prepared, which is, again, massive. 22% feel negative about still being employed, right? So that's the climate we're in right now. And what that's doing is starting to create an experience where people are starting to go back and look at their finances. They're opening up their bank account. They're actually asking questions. They're calling up call centers, discovering what these fees are. We're seeing an incredible demand, and I'll show you what we're seeing also on the other side. So massive demand for personal finance on Finder. Massive demand for the content that we've been publishing, an unusual amount. 489% increase in views about share trading. This is a huge category on Finder. People want to know about it. People are trying to invest right now. Interest rates are almost, they're at 1%. Almost pretty much every other account gives you 0%. We're concerned about yield, and I think potentially we've seen a recent report that we've published from 50 economists on Finder, that they're thinking the RBA is going to increase interest rates. That's a big deal. That's the forecast right now, and potentially this might change this hype in the share market, but the share market's hot right now. People are concerned about investments. They want to know where they can protect their wealth. So we're seeing a huge demand also in gold and a huge demand in Bitcoin, as ways that people are trying to protect their wealth. 46% visits a high interest savings account. That's massive, right? Massive increase. People are looking, they've got money now. We've seen an increase in the actual total amount of savings, but we're also seeing people starting to look at these actual high interest savings accounts and figure out where to go and put their money. So people are concerned. You can see this is the data. 34% as well, increase in home loans. So people looking for home loans. We've seen a big increase in people looking to switch their home loan. They're concerned about their home. They're concerned about their mortgage payments. Massive drive. And I think this is an area of again, continued, and I don't think this will stop. I think a lot of Australians are going to continue throughout this year and into next year, I'd say through to June, going to continuously look at their home loan, and it's a big trend. Okay, so let's talk about future and what this might mean. My submission, so the first one, we've seen this shifting financial attitudes. That's interesting from a spending to a saving mindset. People are planning their investments. They're concerned about wealth. They're concerned about inflation. I think that's a big change. That's a very different from the fast pace, Uber Eats, non-stop purchasing, moving around, going, traveling, to a slower, more considered, saving, potentially paying down debt as well mindset. That's an important background, and I don't think that's going to stop. In fact, I think that trend and that behavior is going to increase. We're seeing untold demand for this. We're also seeing more switching. We've noticed this, so people are starting to look at their actual products and say, hey, what is going on? I want to see a better product. We're seeing a big demand in this right now, and obviously that's, from all the other trends I've talked about. The third thing I think we've talked about here is data streams, right? So there are these new open banking data streams. There's screen scraping that's already out there. It's been out there. Big banks have been using this for a long, long time. But we're really starting to see the smoothing of that. And this is the fourth point here, of that experience. Why is this important? Why is this interesting? Well, I think people are starting to value convenience much higher than price. And the reason for that is they want to get stuff done on their phone. They want to get it done there and then because there's so many different notifications and all these things going on all at the same time. What they're trying to do is experience something and get the job done. So when you start to do your finances, one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest drop-offs we see is when someone actually goes to the application form, that's the biggest drop-off site. And in that moment, what they're trying to do is reduce that friction and decrease the effort and get it done. So my contention in the future is that UX, experience, connecting up cables, more partnerships, tighter integrations on the actual sites are going to be at a premium. Those are the financial services that will boom going forward. Look at products like Lemonade and Hippo, which are home insurance, relatively these products have been done for a while, but they're massive demand because they've got 2 questions to onboard. And that's the change, right? That's where I think a lot of these processes and businesses are going to get really a different evolution. This is my prediction for the future of banking. I call it headless banking. And essentially what I believe is that consumers in the future will manage everything through one app, potentially the Finder app. Obviously, there probably will be more, but imagine a world where you open the Finder app and you could see all of the bank accounts all in one place, and you could just literally slide a bar and switch bank accounts with one swipe and maybe press confirm. You want to do the same thing for your home loan, a few more checks, you're done. But all the way through, you're being assisted and all the data's being crunched and the analysis is done by the app. This is the world I believe we're coming to. Headless insurance companies, headless telcos. You never call the call center because there's already an app. You don't need the brand. You've got the product. It's side by side. It's effortless. It's convenient. It's all in one place. We don't have to worry about it. The app makes sure that you're getting the best deal for you, which is great. This is a very controversial idea, and I'm happy to take questions about this as well. But I just wanted to just pause here because I think, and I know, and I have personally putting my money on the line that this is the world of the future, and we want to work with the financial services companies that are prepared to come with us and bring about this journey because they're going to get a huge edge in the market. So why are we doing all this? Why is Finder actually doing this? That's a great question. And I just wanted to submit and make sure everyone knows, at the end of the day, my belief and my purpose and the purpose of all the 400 people at Finder all around the world is that we're here to help the world make better decisions. We're on the customer's side, which is great. And it gives us a unique ability to create new technologies and new experiences that has never been seen before in financial technology. And coming from that place and that energy and that space that we want to help and be win-win, I think we're going to see some incredible partners create incredible products and move the needle and move the Overton window of finance. Last thing I wanted to sort of leave everyone with is I think these data-driven tools and helping people to make better decisions today when it's needed more than ever is the future. I've shared that with a few different ideas and a few different point starters there, but happy to talk about it and have some questions on this as well. Thanks very much as well for listening and the opportunity. And there's some details. You can reach out to us if you want to talk about open banking with Finder. Send us an email and we can talk more with you about it now.
Well, thank you so much, Fred. Openbanking@finder.com. Flick your ideas and emails through. I'm sure Fred and the team would love to hear from you. Got a few questions here, Fred. Amber asks, most Australians are price sensitive, yet most won't move a mortgage despite being able to save thousands by shifting. So how do we shift the needle on that culture? And do you think it's generationally led?
I do. I think today what you're seeing is a new audience that are less brand sensitive. They've had their brands. They actually, I interview customers personally, and I ask them. I say, "Oh, so which big bank are you with?" They say, "I'm not with a big bank." I said, "Well, their primary bank is a neobank. They don't actually have a big bank." And so my contention to you, is that this is like the wave is arcing up and forming right now. We're about to see a Cambrian explosion in switching and saving by Australians because I think they've grown up and known, and they know that they don't need to go and walk down and be with the branch or the one that their family was with. They're allowed to switch, it's okay to switch, and the government is also legislating this and they've got the consumer data right, I think we're about to see that change.
Awesome. And one more, Fred, if you will. Do you think there are some limitations to understanding a customer's true problem using open banking data? And I guess what sources of data do you think can help to supplement that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I want to unpack that a little bit, because I think the question is, how do you get the best outcome for the customer? Well, what we're doing, and we're trying to approach this, is we're using the data of other people, so people similar to yourself potentially, and saying, hey, you've got the same credit score, you've got a similar age, similar income, similar expenses, you live in a similar location, and this person over here is paying 3% and you're paying 4%. So it's not really, we're not making up these like suggestions. It's literally what's already in the market. And I think what you'll always remember, if you go back to, I think referrals from other people are very powerful and very strong when you see what someone else is doing. When they are, not when an institution or an organization tells you something, but when literally, it's not us telling you, it's someone else's literal life. They're experiencing it. They're getting that exact deal, and it is what it is. And I think that nature and that sharing of information and that sharing economy is, again, it hasn't quite pervaded into financial advice and financial products in and of itself. Sharing it's not, people don't like to share their money and what they're doing, but if you can translate that in a nice, convenient, safe, security and compliance is our number one thing at Finder. We are unbelievably tighter than a bank when it comes to KYC and all those kind of things. I've been in the cryptocurrency space, so we hold the highest standards when it comes to these things. And I personally, am very, 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 very concerned about privacy, and I will not share, information. We're not into the data sales business. I do not enjoy any of that stuff. We want the best outcome for the customer. That's a new idea in financial services to some extent. Put the customer first, serve them, and give them the best options and deals. And when you start coming from that energy and that alignment and that place as an organization, as a movement, people start to buy into that. And that's how revolutions happen. That's what changes entire industries. And that's what I'm hoping to bring.
Wonderful. What a fantastic note to finish on. Openbanking@finder.com to contact the amazing team. Fred Schebesta, thank you so much for joining us, and have yourself an amazing day. Thank you, sir.